Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I'm going to do a quick update before I head out to work today on the situation over DC, over by the Reagan Airport. Had a mid-air collision last night around 8:47, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where a Black Hawk helicopter went into a passenger jet, and here is the footage of that actual midair collision. As of right now, AP is reporting 27 bodies. I got 30. I just saw another or heard another report. 30 bodies have been recovered. There is no mention of survivors as at this point. Um, I know last night somebody from the DC area, or that they were from the DC area, commented on the post that I made and said that all 60 people were recovered and were fine with minor injuries. I don't know why that person posted that, but I woke up this morning kind of disturbed by it. Uh, the one thing we don't care about over here is being the first to report something, right? Because you can be the first and be the wrong, be the first one and the wrongest one, the one that's wrong. And in a serious situation like this, I'm trying to make myself understand. Okay, what was the joke in? Because there was no joke in what was reported when I was doing covering a serious situation, very serious situation. Um, Again, I don't know if the person felt like they needed that try that was the way they could contribute to the broadcast, but misleading people is something that I don't care of, and it really pissed me off, you know, given the gravity of this whole situation, for somebody to just, you know, I can understand you wanting to contribute, but god damn, I mean, you know what I mean? They literally could have been somebody watching last night who had a family member on that broadcast, and this probably could have been the only thing they got to see at that time. And here, and it's a lesson for me too. Um, just posting what people, because that's kind of what I do. When people get on here and comment, I just kind of, I post what they post, share it with, but that policy is definitely going to change, or has changed, because again, this thing bothered me. I woke up bothered by this whole thing this morning. The fact that that was said, and then to get up, and the first thing I run into was a report that there are like right here, you see on the screen right now. AP's reporting, 27 bodies so far. This was 3 minutes ago. All right, let's see what we got. 27 bodies recovered from American airline jet. First responders have recovered the bodies of 27 passengers from the American airline jet that collided with the helicopter. The body of the plane was found upside down in three sections in waist deep water. The wreckage of the helicopter was also found. Officials said that they were searching for other casualties, but did not believe there were any other survivors. Mm. Which would make it the deadliest air crash in nearly 24 years in the United States here. And I mean, these people were literally a couple hundred feet from landing. You got reports of people sending text messages like people normally do. Hey, I'm about to land. So you got people sitting there at the airport waiting on these people. only to find out that this tragedy has happened. Again, the Army Black Hawk collides with a passenger jet over the Potomac, right at the runway of the Ronald Reagan Airport, Reagan International, Reagan. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Get some images from this morning because the sun has definitely come up, and so that's going to help with this recovery effort. The water on the Potomac is extremely cold this time of year. It's the wintertime. Extremely cold. Um, all right, let's listen to some reports.
The next phase of this operation is going to be led by the NTSB. All of us are working together, though, to search the area and to find the victims. I'm confident that we will do that, and that will take us a little bit of time, though. It may involve some more equipment. As far as the things being collected, I don't have personal knowledge. I know that we have been collecting debris that you would expect to see from a plane.
So the question is about the victims. The NTSB is going to lead that portion of the contact with the victims. I believe American is going to be involved with that as well, and so will the FAA and the Department of Transportation.
We're going to take some questions over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep.
For Secretary Duffy, the flight path that the helicopter was on, is that a common flight path, and is it normal for helicopters to get clearance to cut across 50-foot path?
So I don't know if you all could hear the question. It's a question about the flight path of the helicopter. I don't want to go into too much detail about the information we have from the FAA, but obviously it is not standard to have aircraft collide. I want to be clear on that. But prior to the collision, the flight paths that were being flown from the military and from American, that was not unusual for.
And until you receive some information that this is other than an accident, please be careful. I already see some of these people waking up this morning, going straight into conspiracy mode. You know, oh, that wasn't no accident, da 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 da, and have no clue as to logistically how this could happen. You know what I mean? And nothing. And again, I'm not saying that it or was, but until you get more information, don't get on social media posting like a lot of people did about this, because I don't see the same energy about the freeze and the fact that the freeze has been rescinded. Where is the same energy? Where are these Project 2025ers? And I said this on the podcast that thing will be rescinded. So where is the, like, cover it both ways, going up and coming down. Don't cover it when it has the most sensationalized effect for you, so you can try to shock the people that's watching your page. But that won't get the news. That won't make the news. But yeah, be careful in what you consume and where you consume it from. And if somebody offers, some conspiracy theory, listen to them and then ask common sense questions. How do you know this? Where did you get your information from?
What happens in the DC airspace. And as this investigation moves forward, we will be able to provide more information to you about the details of that statement.
So we see the conversation with aircraft control or the blind spots here.
So the question is, were there blind spots with air traffic control? I don't want to make statements about that. I don't lead into that answer. But again, I think whether it was air traffic control, whether it was military aircraft, helicopters, or the American flight, everything was standard in the lead up to the crash. Now, obviously, something happened here. You'll get more information and more details as this investigation moves forward. We'll learn what happened. But again, those who live in the DC area, we see military helicopters fly up and down the river. It's a standard path that they fly. They're used to aircraft landing at DCA. And there's a procedure in place because this happens every day. Something went wrong here. I look forward to the time and point when we can give you that information, but I don't want to comment on that right now.
Very vocal about your concerns about busy runways here, air traffic. I know it's still early in the investigation. I'm just curious if any steps that you all plan to take to address that.
We have raised this issue continuously. We've got very busy airspace. I think we will ask questions, but at the appropriate time. We are in this period right now where families are still being notified. We're trying to figure out what happened. There'll be time for those discussions, I think.
Yeah, I'd just say the same thing. We've been pretty plain about our concerns, but it isn't a good time to speculate right now. We have faith that the NTSB will provide the answers about this.
Okay, you 4 clear, and I'm gonna say 3 in the middle, and then we're gonna have to wrap 1, 2, 3 after this one.
Thank you, appreciate it. Chief, I know I can imagine it must be traumatic for the first responders. How are they doing right now, and are you all going to be offering services to help them as they process this?
So thank you for the question. Our first responders are resilient people, but yes, this call will be hard for them. Our peer support teams are already engaged with the responders, and we'll be following up on that to make sure that they're okay. But I think the concern is real.
What kind of communication was there between the helicopter and the tower, the plane and the tower, and the helicopter and the plane?
I don't want to say too much on the communication between the helicopter and the tower and the airline and the tower, but I will say this: there was communication. It was I would say standard communication. So there was not a breakdown, if that's your question, in communication between the military helicopter and the American airline flight. There was communication between the aircraft and the tower.
Is the plane aware that the helicopter in the area?
I would say the helicopter was aware that there was a plane in the area.
So the president, you said yesterday he called the briefing. Has he returned to the briefing room since then? Has he spoken? Also a question about the National Security Advisor, Mike Walsh, he's saying that there was 30 bodies that have been recovered. That you said that to the White House. Curious, I know you're in this question right now, so that's hard for you to update, but I do have a question on police.
I can do the body.
I'll give you body first.
So in terms of body recovery, we as we recover bodies, we have a process, and we're not counting any bodies until they're in the possession of the medical director. So there may be some fluctuating in numbers that other people would report, but our numbers from the medical examiner.
So just in regard to the president in the briefing room, I've been.
Tower 5342 on Mount Vernon, visual runway 1.
Whiskey 5342, Washington Tower 1 star 32017, 25, can you take runway 33?
Yeah, we can do 33 for Blue 5342.
Whiskey 5342, that's a Wilson Bridge, thanks for runway 33, runway 33, clear for land.
Thanks for runway 33 for land, Blue 5342.
Yes, 789, 1 star 320 to 15, just 25, traffic 2 out, no delays, runway 1 for takeoff.
Takeoff, runway 1, no delays.
Washington Tower American 3130 with you, runway 1. American 3130 Washington Tower 1 star 31314. So runway 16.
And this is air traffic control. Air traffic control.
Land runway 1, American 31.
Between the jet and the Black Hawk helicopter.
Yeah, 79 contact on mark today. Okay. American 3130 for the final. Well, American 3130. Pass 25, traffic just off the Wilson Bridge to CRJ is 1,200 feet, start runway 33. This difference crew. 1330 Tower, runway 1, lot 4, traffic through outside runway 33, dispatch 16 on final. Runway 1. Whiskey 5307, keep rolling out to November, Southwest end of the day. American 16, turn to Windstar 32014, Duck 25, traffic 2 mile left base, runway 33, no delay, runway 12 for immediate takeoff. Number 1, clear for takeoff, American 1630. Pass 25, get the CRJ in sight. Pass 25, pass behind the CRJ. Two separate. American 4782 by BAT now for an visual. American 472 Washington Tower 1 star 32017. Alright, this is wind. Tower G 472. American 3130, go around, turn left end 250, climb maintain 3000. Left end 350, 3000, American 3130. Tower Blue Streak 5347 is on final. Request runway 33, circle to 33. Taking heading to American 3130. American 3130, go around, turn left end 270, climb maintain 3000. 270 heading 3000, American 3130. American 472. American 472, capital land clearance runway 1 continues. American 472, cancel approach clearance runway 1 continues. Approach clearance canceled, we're continuing. Blue Streak 5305, I think you saw that, it was by house. Affirmative. Clarify what you want 478 to do. Are we going around or are we continuing? 05, maintain 3000. American 472 is going around, we're going to climb maintain 3000. Tower Blue Streak 5347 is on final. Alright, for American 4782, we're on the go. We're going to climb maintain 3000. You have a heading? American 472, left start heading 270, climb maintain 3000. Contact Potomac on 118195. 270 the heading, 3000 and 1895, American 472. American 3130, contact approach on 1895. 1895, 3130. 5347 is on final. Request circle to 33. Lucy 5347, go around, climb maintain 3000, flight 3000 heading, go around 3000, Blue Streak 5347. American 3130, contact approach, standby.
Crash, crash, crash. This is alert 3. Crash, crash, crash. This is alert 3. Crash, crash. This is alert 3. Where's the alert 3? It is off the approach end of runway 33. Approach end of runway 33. Helicopter crash. Helicopter. Copy. Copy out this morning. Crash. Alert 3. 2 helicopters. Helicopter CRJ approach in runway 33. Where are we? The approach in runway 33, a mile off final. Crash. Yeah. Kilo CRJ approaching 33. Okay. How many souls on board? We don't have any of that information. One for taxi 301. Reporting a CRJ and a helicopter crash in the Potomac River. Can we go ahead and hold all operations till we have emergency units respond? We're gonna go ahead and show the aerodrome closed. Yeah, that's affirmative. Hold all operations, aerodrome closed.
Lucy for the 347, turn right heading 0, Harrison. Lucy for the 347, turn right heading 120. 120, I'm heading Lucy for 347.
And everybody just hold your positions, please, on the field right now.
A plane carrying 64 people has collided with a helicopter in Washington, D.C. At 8:47 local time, the American airline flight 5342 was coming into land at the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport when it hit a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. Both aircraft crashed into the Potomac River, with the plane breaking into two pieces. An unnamed source has said that around 19 bodies have been recovered from the river, but so far no death toll has been given. While the cause of the crash is currently unknown, the FBI says that there is no evidence of criminality or terrorism. Here is what some aviation experts had to say to Times Radio.
The Washington airspace around Reagan Airport is one of the most heavily controlled airspaces in the world. And what I mean by that is civilian air traffic is directed to go specifically down specific corridors to land on airfields, take off. They've got to go a specific way. They've got to follow a particular pattern. And there is no discretion allowed. So it's very procedural. It's heavily controlled. What happened on this particular night, though, was that there was a military aircraft also involved in that control zone. Now, that's not unusual. But those military aircraft, I know firsthand, tend to have a little bit more latitude because the military aircraft, particularly on this case, a Black Hawk, might well have been on some sort of special secret military mission. It may have been part of a security detail. It may have been part of President Trump's detail. Who knows? And therefore, they don't fall under the same rules. They are asked by air traffic. They're told to keep their eyes open, but they are much more left to their own devices as long as they understand. And they build a mental picture. When I was a military flying, they called it situational awareness. And I suspect that's what they're relying on in that control zone. The visibility was good. I think what the trouble is, the investigation is going to focus on this Bombardier aircraft. At the very last minute was asked to change runways. So it was asked to go onto a shorter runway, runway 33 at Ronald Reagan. Now that in itself is no great thing. What it does mean is that aircraft would have had to maneuver from its original flight path to reposition itself to come down on a different approach path to runway 33. And that actually took it over the Potomac River. And it would have been interesting, therefore, that the pilot of the military helicopter might have assumed that everything was coming down one way and up another way, up funnels to the main runway, and maybe didn't pick up the fact that this other aircraft was asked to do a different approach, therefore to the sky that he wouldn't have been expecting it to be. All of that is coherent with,
because some of the reports that I've got is that they were out on a training mission, and the area that they were flying in over runway 33 is a runway that's not usually used heavily. So the fact that it was a last minute change could definitely have contributed to this, because again, that airspace around it is, a lot of it is restricted because of, that's where the center of the government sits. And yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this what's the final thing. But here we go.
A, both aircraft falling in the Potomac River, and B, the radio calls from Dulles Tower, the Washington Tower, that basically said, military aircraft, have you seen this civilian aircraft? And there was no reply. That for me means that military guy wasn't expecting to see it, suddenly went, holy, which aircraft? Didn't reply. And tragically, that seems to have ended in a horrendous accident.
This was a training flight of the helicopter. Apparently did not have its ADSB tracking system turned on. This is the signal that's sent out to air traffic control to track aircraft. And it also is a vital component of another system called TCAS, which is Traffic Collision Avoidance System, fitted to all commercial aircraft and military aircraft, which alerts them to other aircraft on a collision course, but the ADSB must be turned on.
So the helicopters must fly along the river. Clearly they're allowed when they're flying in and out of the White House. So they may be observed to the Vice President, they have ones for the Pentagon, they deviate from the river. But generally they'll fly at a certain altitude very, very strictly, like they do in London as well. The heli lanes are very strictly controlled. If you're flying in London, you must be over the river unless you're going into somewhere to land. And then the planes coming into land at ECA are obviously above that.